of the best things to do is to start really looking, look at the 10 pillars, look at your sleep. Am I sleeping 7 to 9 hours a week? Or am I in bed 8 hours and I'm sleeping six because I'm reading or on my phone? And that's what you concentrate on. And then we love telling people to do sleep journals. In your sleep journal, what time you went to bed? Go to bed the same time every night. Can't make giant adjustments on sleep. Can't go to bed at 1 and then all of a sudden try to go to bed at 10. Doesn't work. The biggest recommendation I have for people is the small changes add up. There's a great book, Atomic Habits, and it really talks about 1% changes over the course of the year have dramatically affect your life.
This is Doctor Talks. Welcome to this episode of the Reverse Alzheimer's Summit. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Sandison, and I can't wait to reintroduce you to my friend Julia Lundstrom. She is the CEO and founder of Simple Smart Science. She started this mission almost 11 years ago when her dear aunt was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And within 1 year, in this quick decline, she couldn't even remember her own children. Then 5 years ago, Julia's own mom started to see symptoms of memory loss and now has full dementia. Julia's vision is to reduce the number of dementia cases by 50% by the year 2050. And the way to do that is to help people prevent it. Julia, welcome.
Thank you so much, Heather. It's a pleasure being back and good to see you again and getting caught up with everything you're working on is so exciting as well.
Yeah, I want to give everyone here just an action-packed, informative 20, 30 minutes and all the updates on what you've been providing. You were just telling me about the client retreats that you're running, and I'd love to just dive into your pillars of brain health and how you help a typical client.
Yeah, so about 80% of our clients really just need the foundational help. And so we know, through your work and Dr. Bredeson's work, the 36 reasons for memory loss. And of course, we're all preventative. So everything we're teaching and showing clients is really looking at the science behind what can help to prevent dementia. And so we're looking at our 10 pillars of brain health that incorporate everything from being social and having purpose, challenging yourself, using your memory, sleep, of course, diet, exercise, all those things, supplementation are all encompassing in this. So typically when we start working with a client, we come in, we have them do a memory assessment, and then we determine where they need the help, right? And the biggest component of this, and I think you know this, is the accountability. Like a lot of people know so much of this stuff, everything. I've never had anybody doing 100%, but we have a lot of people that do a lot right. But it's the accountability, and so that's where we really focus a lot of our time. We've brought in last year, we talked a lot about the CGMs and looking inside people's bodies. So that's continuing to be a path. I mean, I know I spend a lot of money every year on testing preventative things, right? I had a stressful year, so I wanted to test my cortisol and make sure that I'm okay, So doing that kind of testing to make sure that nothing is coming down the line that's unforeseen.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what we're doing now. We started doing some functional DNA testing, not some, a lot. We have a geneticist now who helps us with that path. We like to say your genes load the gun and your environment, your lifestyle pulls the trigger. Right. So that's really what we're looking at. And it's great to see. Like for me, I don't know if you've ever done any functional DNA testing, but for me, I don't process inflammations very well. I don't process toxins very well. So I know I have to keep my lifestyle and all the things, but that's in inflammation. I need to be extra careful with inflammatory foods and stress, things like that. So it's really great. I mean, I just think there's so much individualized care that needs to be done and customization, which I know you do a lot of. And that's what we're focused on because your body and my body are not the same.
Yeah, the genetics conversation is always really interesting, right? Because I think some people are really turned off by it, right? They think, oh, there's nothing I can do about my genes. So why would I even want to test them or know? And yet epigenetics or those inputs, the way we eat, what we eat, how often we move, how much good quality sleep we get, how we interact with others. You mentioned socialization and avoiding isolation. Those things have a much bigger impact on how our genetics are expressed. And genetics and understanding them can be so empowering. Because as you mentioned, if you know that you don't detoxify well, or if that you are prone to more inflammation, maybe you have the ApoE4 genetics, this is something that if you know this in your 20s, you can make different decisions than if you kind of put your head in the sand and pretend it isn't there. And so you can get ahead of it and do such, in the prevention world, this makes so much sense to understand your genetics, right? Later on, when someone with severe dementia is testing, it's almost for prevention for their offspring, the people who share their
Right,
genetics. It can become
right.
a tool for prevention and motivation.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just fascinating to know. I mean, they even have it down now to, I don't absorb, bind, or transport vitamin B12 or vitamin D well, and so I have to take a certain type of vitamin D, and I got to take it twice a day because if I just take it in the morning, I'm not absorbing it. So it's like just getting in the long run, it saves us a lot of money from taking a bunch of stuff that isn't working. We like to say expensive pee. It's this concept of let's really look at the individual's body and inside their body. We talked, like I said, we talked a lot about the CGMs, the functional testing. I know you do a lot more in-depth testing, especially when it comes to the recode program and things like that. But on the prevention side, that's one of the huge things we've seen. And even down to, you mentioned our retreats. At our retreats, we're putting everybody on EEGs and we're looking at their brainwave states. And from their brainwave states, I mean, you can see ADD, ADHD, you can see TBIs, you can see all the stuff Parkinson's, dementia, you can see that in their brainwave states. And so we work with clients to get them not only congruent brainwaves, but also looking at getting them into the alpha brainwave state, which is much more not only creative and where you should make your better decisions, but also a much more healing state, right? So again, it's just so individualized per person, and some people get there easy, and some people don't, and to work with them and teach techniques, and so it's taking it a really, I mean, that's going really deep when we do our retreats, individual retreats. It's really deep diving. So again, 80% of the people just need the foundational work, but it's really fun to really go to the next level with some of this stuff.
And when you see a new client, how do you decide which pillar? You mentioned there were 10 of them. How do you decide where to
Mhm.
start, right? Or do you throw everything at them when you
No, no.
start testing?
Yeah, we have a motto, we meet them where they're at. And so people are busy, whether they're retired or not. Some people are busier in retirement than outside. So it's really important to get them in. We do an in-depth memory assessment intake. And so we're going through their lifestyle, their diets, their sleep habits, their social habits, what their lifestyle looks like. But walk us through a day, you know? And that really helps us determine where they need the most help. And so if it's sleep, we have sleep experts, right? And so they can talk them through that. If it's diet, we have nutritionists and we talk them through that. And so we like the first 30 days is really about where we can have the highest leverage. We want people to get results really quickly because that's going to keep them motivated to do the harder work down the line.
Mhm.
Right. And so, and then, we do live interactive classes. So if we say, hey, we want you to start meditating, because you have, the fried brain, or, that they've worked too hard all their life and they're just this scatterbrained, high cortisol, that kind of a thing. We actually now, this past year, have started doing interactive classes where they can actually come. So we say, go meditate. We have a class once a week where they can, and it's all online, right? So they can come and they can show up and actually do the work and learn different techniques. We do breath work once a week. We have brain healthy cooking classes. They can come join, ask questions, individual. So it's really, really fun. Memory classes, how to use your memory better. So you get this interactive social component, accountability, all of that is inside the programs. And I think that's one of the biggest things, because when most people come to work with us, they really don't know what the root cause of it. And most of them have the same type of issues, right? They are just a little bit more forgetful. They're not feeling as sharp as they used to, a little bit of brain fog sometimes. Nothing that's screaming you have MCI or anything like that, but just not feeling like they did 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's where we want to
subjective
look at it.
cognitive
Yeah,
impairment. Right. And what a luxury, right? When someone comes into my office and they're like, well, nothing shows up. I've got a perfect MOCA score of 30. I'm not testing as impaired on any of the quizzes or anything that I've done with neurology or my primary care provider, but I know my brain isn't working the way it did 10 years ago. And this often will happen for professionals, right? The people who are very well educated, they've got a lot of what we call cognitive reserve. And maybe they're super sharp and quick and they never would forget a name or miss a word or not be able to calculate something in their head. But all of a sudden, or maybe gradually even, that's more common. It's like it's not what it was before. And that is such a luxury to be working with patients then because it's pretty quick and easy to turn it around. It doesn't take as much effort as if we're talking to someone with more severe Alzheimer's. Talk to
Absolutely.
me a little bit more about the psychology of the pillars of brain health and how they've helped people. And if you have any examples of people you've worked with, that'd be fantastic to hear some stories.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a wide spectrum of people we've worked with, but you talked about professionals. We see a lot of the burnt out brain where they've been working for 12, 14, 16 hours a day for decades, and all of a sudden they come in and their brain is literally fried, right? So and because they haven't stopped, their brain forces them to stop. And so we get a lot of that. We see a lot of professionals that come in, and then it's complete lifestyle overhaul for them, right? They maybe they're working out, but they're not doing strength training, or maybe they're not taking any time to meditate or slow down or breathe. And I always hear, the meditation, oh, it's so boring, I can't do it, or my brain just wanders, and that's fine. Meditation
That's how
isn't
you know you
about
need it.
that's yeah. I like to say I heard it once. Somebody said it. It's not my original, but if you can't do it for 1 minute, then you need an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I know I went on a meditation retreat with my mom not that long ago, and she was like, I can't sit still. I can't just sit there. And I was like, You need it more than anyone. Hang tight."
Exactly.
And it's not meant to be torturous. It's so funny. My relationship with meditation, it's like it's my sacred time
Mhm.
to myself. I get it in the morning. I get up. I'm so motivated to get up and out of bed because I want to race everybody else out of bed so that I have the house to myself. I have that quiet time. And my day doesn't feel like it started until I get that. And it's so different if I miss it for some reason. Sorry, go on. So, and
I'm
I'm
absolutely with you. I mean, that's just it. We had a woman that was in a car accident 3 years ago now, and she started working with us about a year ago. And when she went in, the doctor said that that it looked like she was already on the path to Alzheimer's after this car accident because she had concussion, all this stuff. And they said, you're going to have Alzheimer's within 5 years, which, you know, she was 60 years old. Like this, had nothing before it. So she did a lot of work prior to that. I mean, her whole face was, before she came to us, it looked like she had had a stroke, but all that was kind of fixed before she came to us. But she was forced to quit, and we completely changed her diet around, her health, her lifestyle, got her to slow down and start doing the work, using her memory again, where cell phones are just some of the worst things for using our memory. We just don't anymore. And I mean, she says that we've just saved her life because she feels incredibly sharp. She feels healthy. She lost 25 pounds. I mean, that's just it. When you put your brain health first, you just lose weight because you're not worried about your waistline, you're worried about your brain. And she actually came to one of our retreats, and she was one of the more difficult ones because of some of the brain damage that happened with the car accident. But we were able to get her into an alpha brainwave state where she could come to a calm, relaxed state. And now she's continuing to do the work. And that's just it. It's the continuing to do the work, the accountability, and how important that is. Because when you show up every single week to talk to somebody, a doctor says, oh, go do this. You need to go do this. I'll see you in 6 months. It's not giving people what they need to really get the work done. But when you're paying for something that you need to show up weekly and say, I did do this. I mean, I've had a client tell me that he's a veterinarian and he gets home, he does surgery late, and sometimes he gets home at 11 o'clock at night, and he says, but I know I go and do these exercises that my coach gave me, even if it's for 10 or 20 minutes, because I can't see her face the next day and tell her I didn't do it.
that accountability, right? This isn't rocket surgery, right? It's the basics of diet and exercise and stress management. The hard part is doing it, is actually implementing these ideas. And so is there a certain, I mean, accountability you mentioned, is there anything else that you use to help people implement?
So we talked about this last year, but I'd like to circle back to it, like the continuous glucose monitors that
Mhm.
we put on people. That gives them the instant feedback loop, and everybody thinks food when it comes to glucose, but it's really sleep. I mean, it's also food, but it's sleep, it's stress, it's exercise, all those things affect it. And I think once people start to really get used to it, we put everybody on retreats on it, and everybody's sitting around a table, and it's shocking to see how they all react to diet and exercise and the perfect brain healthy meal. And some people are great with it, some people aren't. And then we have to figure out why that is. But what's always shocking to most people is the feedback loop on the stress. Like I had, they'll say something like, "Oh, I had, some raisins or a milkshake or a candy bar, and my glucose went up 60 points. I got in a fight and it went up 100." Right? They don't understand how toxic these relationships can be to your inner health or politics or anything that gets you that riled up,
Dials up.
right?
Mhm.
How much that's actually affecting your on the inside. So I love things that give them the instant feedback loop on what they're doing. And so that's something, they scan on their phone and they're able to see within an hour what happened. And
And
that is the biggest lifestyle changer for most people.
are you a fan of like the rings or the watches or things that track sleep as well?
We do a lot of that. Yeah. Everybody at our retreats gets some sort of tracker. We like the rings, like the Aura ring is really big. It's a double-edged sword with that. People get a little too obsessed with it, or if they're not a good sleeper and they put it on, they get even more stressed out that they're not sleeping very well. And so there's a fine line balance there, right? We've even had people get obsessive with CGMs and want to wear it for 6 months or a year. It's like you don't need that much data all the time. You need to learn and then adjust accordingly. And then once you're okay, stop with the data. But I do love the trackers because it is important. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I sleep 8 hours a night," and really maybe they're only getting 5. Like they don't really understand what's going on at night, or they're not getting any deep sleep, or so it is good to track that a lot. So we definitely do that for a lot of our clients that need it, especially on the sleep side.
Yeah, amazing. So, what do you recommend people start at home to get on this track towards those 10 pillars of brain health, having this really great foundation? Would it be one of these trackers or something different?
Yeah, I mean, I think if somebody, I mean, first of all, we put on a lot of free workshops, and so people can go. I think we gave you guys a link, so they can go sign up for one. It's free. They learn for an hour, which is great. And we talk about everything from how inflammation affects your memory to stress to diet, exercise, sleep, all of that, how that really affects your memory. But if they really want to get started just on their own at home, I think one of the best things to do is to start really looking, look at the 10 pillars, look at your sleep. Am I sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night? Really? Right? Or am I in bed 8 hours and I'm sleeping six because I'm reading or on my phone? And that's what you concentrate on. And then we love telling people to do sleep journals. Write in your sleep journal what time you went to bed. Go to bed the same time every night. You can't make giant adjustments on sleep. You can't go to bed at 1 and then all of a sudden try to go to bed at 10. Doesn't work, right? It's making small changes. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest recommendation I have for people is the small changes add up. There's a great book, Atomic Habits, and it really talks about 1% changes over the course of the year have dramatically affect your life. And so most people try to make these huge shifts overnight, and it's not sustainable. We say you're not going to, and especially if you don't like it.
Right. It's
So
not
we
fun.
say, right, we say it's an a la carte menu. It's not a one size fits all. So if you don't like something, you're not going to do it for life. So let's find out what you do like. So if you wanted to work with us, of course, we do your memory assessment, look at all of that. But otherwise, just sit down and start writing where you think you're lacking in life, right? Whether it's the diet, the exercise,
Well, we do.
again,
Let's go through those 10 pillars. You mentioned sleep,
yeah,
diet, exercise. I'm going to assume those are two and three.
I'm going to forget one just because I'm on the spot, but there's supplementation, of course. And I think that we talked to a lot of people about, oh, I'm on so many pills and all this stuff. And again, how do we know if we need it? You do have to do some testing for supplementation. You really do. Yes, there's some things like our Mind Boost Day that you should just take for prevention going forward, but it's, you wouldn't take calcium if you don't need it, if you don't have any calcium issues, right? So there's a lot of things people are taking, or they're taking the wrong form. But so I think for supplementation, it is important to do you don't need to go crazy with it, but you do need to do some baseline testing to see what you really need, and also work with someone like yourself, because if you don't know, if you're taking a supplement that's blocking the pathway, that may be harming you somewhere else. So there's a lot of moving parts to go with supplementation. And that's one of the areas that I think people really should invest in themselves and find out what they need. And then we have being social, right? Being social is more important. The 85-year Harvard study, more important than diet and exercise, right? Just getting out there. And I have people that say, "Oh, I talk to people on the phone all the time." That's great, and it's not the same as the one-on-one energy you get. It's just we have energy fields. We absolutely need to be around people. The purpose and the challenge, we kind of clump that into one. But we see people all the time that, when you're just sitting in front of the TV all day, your brain is going to die. I mean,
Yeah, I
my
had
dad
a
used to say that your eyes are going to turn square. Well, your brain is going to it's gonna atrophy. I mean, it just isn't getting the stimulation, or maybe it's getting that stress stimulation because you're watching news or whatever. And then we have breath work, and that's not just breath work for your lungs. That's opening up your pathways, breathing through your nose as much as possible. Really important, right? There's lots of studies, lots of science around the importance of breathing through your nose and not your mouth. And unfortunately, as people get older, we see that, the mouth breathers. So we work with people on that, teach them breathwork techniques to start to breathe through their nose, even at night, right? The mouth breathing at night is really hard. We do talk about mouth taping, but I think I've lost track. But then we have use it. You got to use it or lose it. So we talk about learning. A lot of times people just stop learning, right? Our learning curve when we're young is straight up and down, and then we get married and have kids, and it just kind of flattens out. And then it goes negative in retirement a lot of times. We just stop learning. And that's one of the biggest ones. We need to continue to learn and grow every single day. So I don't remember how many that was. I'm trying to think of
I think we're on 8. Let me see. I don't have one. Sleep, number 1. Diet, number 2. Exercise, number 3. Supplementation, number 4. Socialization, number 5. Purpose and challenge, number 6. Breath work, number 7. Learning, number 8.
meditation.
Number 9.
Definitely number 9. And boy, top of my head, I'm gonna have to send you a list.
Well, this is more reason for people to go to your website and
I
review
know,
those
I
10
know.
pillars.
Now you're making me look it up, because it's gonna drive me crazy. But the meditation, I think, is a really big one as well, because this is something most people don't think about, and they don't think it's that important. It's stress reduction. Sorry, that was the 10th one. And that's another really big one. And a lot of times stress reduction comes with meditation, but it also comes from, unfortunately, for a lot of people, changing their life, changing their location, changing their life, and even changing their relationships. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. So that's something we work with as well. Or we refer out to therapists, or we refer out to relationship experts. But it's really difficult when we talk to older people that have been in relationships that are abusive, and they're never going to leave. So it's really creating safe spaces for them. And I don't mean sometimes physically abusive, but just not a growing, enriching relationship. And so it's helping them with that too, if they're not going to get out of it, to learn to create a safe space for themselves, to give themselves that stress reduction from it, or to manage it better. So there's a little bit of therapy in there too, right? So it's a little bit of everything. And a lot of them do go like this and can join. But it's really important that people start to focus on these lifestyle changes. And it's not just what's inside in the testing, it is the environment, it is the toxins, it is the mold and the heavy metals. It is, if you're never getting outside in the winter because it's cold, you need to force yourself or, take some vacation time and go somewhere warm or move.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
I just lived in Denver for the last 6 months and I don't do winter, so I moved somewhere warm. So it's great. So, you got to know what makes you happy, and the environment has to be a peaceful, calm, happy place. And that goes for everything. We work with hoarders, and those are not relaxing, calm environments either, and help them get organized, organizers that come over and help them get rid of it. And it's really everything, right? It's looking from the outside in and the inside out.
There's so much to this, and it's for a lot of people, they find it challenging and overwhelming. And so, having a coach, having someone who can walk you through this, whether it's the medical piece of it, having a doctor who can run testing, or having coaches, if you feel like your gap is in these lifestyle places and accountability, like Julia mentioned, is what you need. I think it's so important to be working with someone if your feeling is overwhelmed, right? Find
Mhm.
a teacher, find a coach, find a partner, an accountability buddy, find someone who can help
Mhm.
you get the most out of this approach because we see it work. The thing that keeps it from working is not doing it, right?
Yeah,
And so
it
get
is.
get that support. I want everyone to know where they can find out more about you. We're so grateful for your support of the summit and for you being here and all of your time and expertise. So please share where people can find out more.
Absolutely. So, like I said, the best way to just learn more about what we're doing in general and about me and who I am and what I teach is to sign up for one of our workshops. We do have we have a workshop on sleep, inflammation, how to improve your memory in 30 days or less, and really just learn more that way. So I think we have a link that they can join there. Otherwise, you just can go straight to our website at simplesmartscience.com and learn everything we're doing from our coaching program to our retreats, our 5-day intensive retreats. And this year, we're in the process of getting funding to now bring it to where people live in their homes and retirement communities, and being able to give them food delivery based upon their genetics and what they can have, because your genetics will also tell you your food sensitivities. I mean, it's crazy how much the functional DNA test can tell you these days, from hormones to sleep to what kind of exercise is best for you. So to be able to create these environments and packages where people live in their homes, so they don't have to move, they don't have to go to facilities, is so important. So I think all of that, and we have all of that on our website, but I encourage you, reach out to us, talk to us, book a call. You can get all that from our website, and we're happy to help you and start on the process of even doing a memory assessment so that you know the baseline of what's causing this. Right.
Well, it's so, so wonderful to have you here. We're so grateful for how you support your clients and the amazing results that you get for prevention. So fantastic work. Thank you for doing the work you're doing in the world and also for your time today.
Thank you so much, Heather. It's such a pleasure chatting with you again.
Take care, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Doctor Talks. We hope today's episode has enlightened and inspired you on your path to optimal health. Each day is a new opportunity to make choices that empower your well-being. For more insights and strategies, subscribe to our podcast and visit our website, www.drtalks.com. Stay connected, stay healthy, and join us next time on Doctor Talks, real talks from real doctors on the issues that matter to you most.